Building an anime physique from scratch feels impossible when you're stuck with this skinny fat build and have no clue where to start. In fact, I used to be that way. But if I got isekai'd back in time and had to build an anime physique starting from zero, this is the exact blueprint I would use to go from weak, insecure NPC back to my peak physical self. And once you understand this simple 6-step process, the path becomes much clearer and you'll build an anime physique 10 times faster than all of your friends. The problem that most people have when they start building their physique from scratch is just they have no idea where to start. It's like if you just got accepted into Jujutsu Tech and you head out to fight a special grade on your first day, which is why the first thing you need to do is learn how to figure out your base stats. A lot of you guys who jump right into working out, especially with calisthenics training, do so without understanding your strength level. And a lot of you don't actually know how to evaluate this. As a result, you go into a program, try it burns you out, you give up, and the cycle repeats. The truth is, it wasn't your fault. You were just using a program that wasn't built for you. Take Skinny Fat Kevin, for example. His stat card did not match his battles when he first started. He spent hours doing random workouts that didn't get him any results, all because he didn't know his base stats to begin with. He did exercises that were either too easy or too hard, and basically added 0 to his strength stat. So if you don't want to end up like him, here's what you actually need to evaluate your base stats. First, think about your pulling strength. How many pull-ups can you do in one go? 8? Very solid, you're already working with something. 3 or more? That is a very decent foundation. 0? That's still fine. Now let's think how many inverted rows you can do instead. Second is your pushing strength. How many clean push-ups can you hit before your form breaks? 20 or more? That's a good base to start from. 15 is not a bad start either. Less than 10? That's where most beginners are, so you're not alone. Third, we think about the legs. How many squats can you do in a single go? Can you do a one-legged pistol squat? How about lunges? And fourth will be your core strength. Can you hold a plank for 60 seconds? Can you do leg raises at all? What about an L-sit? And all you have to do is just write all of these down. Think of this as your before stat screen. With this before stat screen, you can determine what exercises you should be doing in order to progress, get stronger, and develop your anime physique. For example, if you could only do 3 pull-ups, you probably don't want to be doing that many pull-ups in your own program. Instead, you'd probably want to be doing pull-up negatives, inverted rows. On the opposite side, if you are doing 8+ pull-ups, well, you probably don't want to just be doing pull-ups all the time. You probably want to explore more advanced variations of pulling and stuff like that. If Skinny Fat Kevin went through this simple evaluation process, he would have been able to find out his stats were 3 pull-ups, 25 push-ups, 60-second plank, and 50 squats, which is quite respectable, thank you very much. So he wouldn't have to waste time trying to do 10 pull-ups in a set, or waste time trying to do dips when he could barely get 2 or 3. But there's one more key thing you need to add to your base stats in order to succeed on this journey. I know nobody wants to do this, it feels very cringe, and it's one of the things that I regret never doing. But trust me, future you is going to be thanking you that you did, and that is taking a good before photo. Now, if you want me to do your evaluation and just sort out your stats for you, no problem. This is the exact thing that I do with every single one of my clients in the Protagonist Academy. I evaluate your strength, get you a custom roadmap to your anime physique in 16 weeks, and guide you the entire way through. Link in the description, so check it out. But here's where most beginners get it wrong, and it kind of works like this. When Midoriya went solo and abandoned all his friends to defeat All for One, his life felt miserable. And he was lonely because his only focus was on his objective, and he put way too much pressure on himself. And that path that he could have followed would not have been a good or sustainable one. When most people start their journey, this game of getting an anime physique, their first few main quests sound exactly like this. Ooh, I want to look aesthetic. I want an anime physique. I want the people at the club to notice me. But while these are admirable goals, except the third one, they should not be your focus. For one, these are not measurable and way too ambiguous. But more importantly, you just put way too much pressure on yourself at the start. If we want to do this sustainably and in a smart way, the best goals are not about how you look, it's what you do. Because here's the thing that nobody tells you. The looks are just a byproduct of getting strong and performing well. Every time you unlock a new level of strength, your physique levels up along with it. Why do you think Sung Jin-woo grew up so hard? As he got stronger, so did his appearance. So instead of, oh, I want abs, or I want to look like Toji, your quests should look like this. Get 10 clean pull-ups, hit 30 solid push-ups, hold an L-sit for at least 15 seconds, and just start with these 3 right here. Another amazing goal that you can start with as a beginner is to just have a workout streak of at least 6 weeks. Most people, they just struggle with getting started. So setting a goal of consistency will help you tremendously. So keep your goals simple, focus on the process, and don't worry about the results. Now you've got your quest, you need to move on to step 3, which is picking your class. Think about Sungjin Woo in solo leveling. He didn't know what class he was going to be or wanted to be. He could have been a tank, a fighter, or some messed up version of a healer. But the system chose exactly what suited. Even when he was hesitant, he soon realized that this class was the best fit for his maximum potential. So what does that mean for us? Just like how Sungjin Woo received his class, in this video, you'll receive yours. And I've got the best system to select the perfect class for you. Otherwise, trying to use a class that doesn't suit you can lead to trouble, and is one of the biggest reasons why people fall off or are inconsistent. Now, of course, I am not talking about typical RPG classes, although I wish I was. The classes that we need to pick are our workout structure. And the way that most people approach this is honestly a disaster. They find 17 different workout routines online, try to combine them into some Frankenstein monster mesh program where they train chest on Monday, they skip legs forever, they just do bicep curls every single day, and somehow wonder how they never change. In reality, they just didn't pick the right routine that suited them. What you actually need is a structured routine that fits around your life. And you only need to think about 2 things. First, think about how you want to split up your training. This could depend on your personal preference or how many days per week you can dedicate to exercise. If I was a complete noob, here's what I would go with. I would try to aim working out 3 days a week, training my whole body on each day. This way, I don't need to overcomplicate anything. I just need to focus on structure and consistency, and I have plenty of rest days to work with and move around if I need to be flexible. If I had a little bit more experience, I wanted to invest more time and increase the volume, I would aim to work out 4 days a week instead, training upper body 3 times a week and legs 1 time a week. It's a little cleaner, you stay a lot more organized, and you still got plenty of rest days to work with. Great for people who have unexpected days that can pop up, or those who really want to focus upper body and focus lower body. But if I wanted to fully commit and get an anime physique as fast as possible, I would train 5 days a week, dividing my exercises into pushing, pulling, and legs. 2 days a week push, 2 days a week pull, 1 leg day. It's so simple yet so effective, and it is the structure that I recommend to most people. If that's too complex and you're really unsure, again, I do this exact thing for you in the Protagonist Academy. Again, you could check it out in the description. Next thing you want to think about is time. How much time in a day can you personally invest? For most people, that looks like 1 hour. For some people, it might only be 30 minutes or anything in between. Anything more than 1 hour, I feel, is too long. Using this time frame, you can determine exactly how many exercises you want to do and how you can fit it into your weekly structure. Generally, I find doing 3 sets of an exercise takes around 10 minutes to complete if you factor in resting in between those sets as well. So do the math and decide how many exercises you're going to be able to do. For Skinny Fat Kevin, this is exactly what he would pick. Since he was younger, he could probably invest more time into working out, but he was a little intimidated by the process, so he would decide to do a 4-day upper-lower split. Next, he'll think about time. For him, he was willing to dedicate at least 45 minutes to an hour of exercise per day during his 4-day split, so he aimed to do 4 to 5 exercises per day. But here is the crucial step. After 4 to 6 weeks, you want to evaluate yourself again and ask yourself these questions. Does this routine fit with how your week actually works? Are you recovering okay? Does it feel sustainable? If yes, you have found your class. Stick with it and you'll go far. If no, adjust it. Don't scrap the whole thing. Just tweak it a bit and make sure it fits with your lifestyle. The most important question you need to ask yourself is not, is this the most viable class, or is this the most optimal training program? The question you want to ask is, will I be able to do this consistently? Because an average plan that you can follow beats a perfect plan that you give up on 3 weeks in. Okay, so you've now got your class, you have your quests, but now you need to aim to make this journey as easy as possible to follow with step 4. To do so, you need to equip the right gear. If you were a new sorcerer in JJK and I just gave you Toji's entire arsenal of cursed tools and told you, go kill Sukuna, very likely you will not know what to do. Freeze up on the spot, and the narrator will not shut up about foreshadowing your death. Most beginners fall into the trap of just taking on too much at once because they think it's the optimal thing to do. They do random ass advanced variations that they're not ready for. They're trying to start things like keto, paleo, veganism, to try to shred down and get that anime physique, and they're tracking way too many things at once. Volume, intensity, frequency, macros, sleep score, cortisol, testosterone, looks maxing, and PP size. You are not competing at the Olympics. You are not trying to be a professional bodybuilder. You're just trying to get your first 10 pull-ups. The more variables you're tracking, the weirder the progressions you're using, the more gear that you're trying to pile in your tiny ass backpack, it's gonna make it just way harder to know what's working and if you're doing things right, which means it's harder to stay consistent, and then you give up, and we're not doing that. So here is how you can simplify everything and just take a few pieces of equipment with you as your starting gear. Let's pull up Skinny Fat Kevin. We are not going to make him do front lever progressions or some crazy dancy push-ups. Instead, we pick the most basic exercises that align with his level. Inverted rows, push-ups, forward lunges, and dead hangs are probably going to be a staple in his routine. Plus some extra bits like some leg raises, some crunches to work his abs. As you can see, these are very simple exercises, but they're going to be much more effective than trying to get him to do the fancy stuff. Second, tracking. Only track one thing per session. How many reps did you hit? Did it feel harder or easier than last time? Done. That's honestly all you need to record. Third, the diet. You gotta sort out your diet without making it your whole personality. Hit roughly 1 gram of protein per pound of goal body weight, eat mostly real food, track your calories via chronometer or any app you wanna use. That is genuinely it. It's honestly laughably simple. And finally, you just want to cut out all of the distractions. Stop jumping between program to program every 2 weeks. Don't do random exercises you think are cool. And stop changing up your split because some guy on Reddit was arguing about the most optimal training to get your looks maxed and PP bigger. You can just join Show to Strength instead for that. Stick to your program and just run with it for like a good 6 weeks. Now here's the part that actually separates the people who actually transform and those who are just going through the motions. And that's step 5, the limit breaker. Think about Meg and me for a sec. Before, he wasn't really all that strong and prioritized survival over winning. He didn't take that many risks, he didn't really push himself to his limits, but the moment he decided that going all in is his best tactic, he became one of the strongest sorcerers in the show. Let's be real, most guys of you are just like Meg and me and holding back on going all out. You do the same 3 sets of 10 push-ups every single week and genuinely wonder why nothing is changing. You end the session as if it was just like a walk in the park. But the guy who's actually making big gains as a beginner is ending his sessions like he just came out of Shibuya arc. To fix this is stupidly simple. I hate to break it to you guys, but your muscles can't count. The only thing they know is if they can keep moving or not, or if they're going through more and more tension day by day. This is the single most important concept in getting stronger and building an anime physique. When you're training and really getting down and dirty with the exercises, you gotta stop counting your reps towards a goal. Instead, count your reps past that goal and keep going until your reps start to slow down. Now, this is where you truly level up. Keep doing each excruciating rep until you literally can't do anymore. Once you know how many reps it took to get to that point, then you can move on to the next stage. Because people don't level up by doing the same exact stage every time. They do harder and harder stages as often as possible. Whether that's more reps, harder variations, shorter rest times, slower negatives, all of that counts. And here's how you know whether or not it's time to progress to the next stage. And it's only one rule of thumb for the beginners out there. If you are doing well over 15 reps of something, it's a sign that you've dominated that exercise. And it's time to make it harder via the ways I described earlier. Now, once you can defeat the bosses consistently, there's one last enemy to conquer. And honestly, this is the one that decides everything. Because at some point in the journey, something is going to happen. You're going to hit a plateau. You're going to look in the mirror and feel small, even though you've been putting in the work. You're going to want to cheat on your diet, and you're going to have a week where everything falls apart and it all feels pointless. And when that happens, something kicks in, your old self, whispering in your ear, you're not cut out for this. What's the point? Well, one cheat day wouldn't hurt. You could start again on Monday. And it's going to feel like everything is impossible. But you have one secret weapon against this. Remember back in step 1 when you took that before photo? Pull it out, look at it, and remember why you started. That is what you're fighting for. Here's something that nobody wants to tell you about consistency. This game that we're playing, trying to get this physique, it only has a 10% completion rate. Not because the game is impossible, but because the majority of players disconnect before they even get to the end. You are not being tested on how many push-ups you can do right now. You're being tested on whether or not you can show up for month 3. So when doubts start to creep in, here's what you do. Acknowledge them. Don't fight them. Don't ignore them. Just say out loud, this feels impossible. I'm doing it anyway. Then go train. Because on the other side of that gate is a completely different avatar. The one that the old skinny fat version of you couldn't even picture. If there is one mindset that everybody should adopt, it's this. Always keep growing, not just in the gym, but in everything. Now, if you find the idea of trying to improve yourself every day intimidating, I get that. But there is another simple rule that can make leveling up feel effortless. So check out this video right here to learn the Japanese rule that will make you unrecognizable.